Hello and welcome to the video. So I'm making this video because I had this epiphany while I was packing to go back to London and I wanted to share with you guys. So let's say for an exercise someone does 50 kilograms for 10 reps, just 500. The volume is 500 because volume will say it is the weight times the reps. But what is the tension? The tension, tension is what is the volume times the time it takes to do every rep, if that makes sense. So let's say you're doing 50 kilograms and you're doing it for 10 reps, and for those 10 reps you're doing 1 second for the concentric and 1 second for the eccentric, which is fast reps. So that's 2. That is now equal to 1,000 in terms of tension, right? Well, hey, let's do this instead. Let's put the weight down to 30 kilograms. And let's now say we're doing the same 10 reps. And let's say the tension is 1 second for the concentric portion of the movement, which is when you're squeezing, contracting your muscle. And let's say it's 3 seconds for the eccentric. You're going down 3 seconds very slowly. That's 4. So that's 120. And you times by 10. 10 times 10, 1,200. So tension is 1,200. A lot bigger and potentially a lot easier than doing 50. So in terms of muscle building, where we know that time under tension and volume is key to actually making the muscle bigger, this will build more muscle than this, even though you're lifting heavier weight. But let's go a little bit further now. So let's now say that we're doing 30 kilograms again, but now we're doing 1 second for the concentric, 3 seconds for the eccentric, and a 2-second pause. So that's 6. 18, 180 times 10, 1,800. So that pause that we know during the eccentric phase of the movement is very good for muscle building, as it performs a very big stretch on the muscle. We'll build more muscle now than just doing this, where you're just moving the weight up and down with very little control and not focusing as much on the tension that's going on in the muscle. And I think this is important because for a very long time I've been just focusing on this methodology. I've just been carrying about getting as strong as possible and then just doing it for a bunch of reps. When in reality, this is potentially better in terms of building muscle. And another thing that's important to highlight is this now. Full range of motion. So let's say you're doing your 50 kilograms. I'm just 50 kilograms. You're doing it for your 10 reps, but you're half repping it. And because you're half repping it, the volume gets cut down into half. So times 0.5. That's now 250. So this multiplier, whenever you're doing less than full range of motion, has a devastating effect on your tension. And I think that is very important because you're essentially just messing yourself up long term if you don't go with the full range of motion, getting that stretch, as much of a stretch as possible, and then doing your quick contraction. From what I understand, a quick contraction, so let's say the 1 second contraction, is better than your slow contraction, so let's say 3 second contraction, because essentially you're just squeezing the muscle. So if these are my muscle fibers, I'm just basically just doing this, which maybe if you see here, you'll cause some micro tears. It won't be as much as causing these micro tears here when you're stretching the muscle out. And that does make sense. You do need to do the concentric phase of the movement, but it is quite interesting. And I'm making this video because it started to dot up a lot of things where you're like twice as strong with the concentric, 2 times stronger with the eccentric portion of the movement. You're also like, it's like the concentric portion of the movement is like 35 to 40% responsible for muscle growth, mg, and the eccentric is obviously 60-65%. And that makes a lot of sense now when you see professionals recommending you take your time for the eccentric. However, what I'm a little bit confused now or wondering about is, when do you stop? At what point do you stop caring about? Oops. So let's say you're doing 10 seconds. So you're using 10 kilograms now. Very light, but you're doing a 1 second contraction, 1 sec, and a 10 seconds. Let's get to 1,000. What do you call it in English? Eccentric. So we'll call that 11. 10 reps. So 1,100. Is it the fact that you're doing 11 seconds per set, per rep, which is 10 times 11, 110 seconds per set? Is that worth it compared to if you're doing 30 kilograms times 4, because obviously 1 and 3, for 10 reps? You've now cut it down to 40 seconds per set. Do you aim to go down to this magical range here, or is it better to go to here? I think it's better to go to here, just because I save some time, and maybe you want to have some load with the stretch to tear as much as possible, because I think if you're doing very little weight, it's going to feel a little bit too easy. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. Put down your thoughts, and yeah, thank you.